$200 a day of passive income sounds amazing, doesn't it? But let's kind of break that down. I mean, if you're working a full-time job, that'd be making $51,000 a year. But then again, you're having to pay taxes on that, so maybe you walk away with $40,000 a year. Doesn't sound that good after all, does it? But what if you could take away $200 a day and even have some tax advantages to where you actually get to keep more of that money and keep it in your own pocket? So let's talk about some of those ideas of how you can actually create $200 a day right now. First and foremost, let's talk about passive income, right? Because all the marketers out there, the influencers want to tell you it's super easy. You just start this new business or you start this other little thing over on the side or do this or do that. Anything but passive. They're really telling you to have another job or an online business or something like that you have to actually work and manage and slave away in. If you could do that, you might as well just stay at your job or work a few hours overtime and you've got $200 a day, right? That's not what we want to do here. So when I talk about passive income, I mean truly passive income where you get your money working harder for you so you have to work so hard for it. That's the big distinction, right? Don't be deceived, right? You really do need to have money for it to work passively. I mean, everybody tells you can get a new wholesaling business, flipping business, online Etsy shop, or whatever it might be. Those things require a lot of work, and there's also some failure rate with those too. I'm talking about getting your money to work harder for you. So let's break down how that actually works. All right, so first, we gotta figure out what does it take to make $200 a day. That's roughly about $6,000 a month, right? If there's 30 days in the month. So if we want $6,000, it depends on what rate of return you're making. So for example, if you have this high yield savings account paying you 4%, I got one that's paying me 4.25, but I gotta pay tax on it, so maybe I make 3. But let's just say you actually make 4%. You gotta have $1.8 million to then pay you $72,000 a year or $6,000 a month or $200 a day. 1.8 million, you gotta be a freaking multimillionaire to then live on $200 a day. That's not a lot when you think about it, right? And not to mention, depending on where you put that money, you could be taxed pretty heavily. So that wouldn't be so good either. So you might walk away with a lot less. So that's an option. If you got a lot of cash just sitting around, maybe you have that rich uncle that passed away, or you just super saver that doesn't spend any money and make everybody else pay for you because you're a cheapskate. Awesome, that might be a good option. But obviously we want to have a higher return. But here's the thing, I'll give you a little bonus here. Don't ever think that higher returns equal higher risk. Although that can be the case, it doesn't always have to be. I've made very high returns taking less risk than most people take while making more money. So don't believe in the whole high risk creates high returns thing. The only people that tell you that are financial advisors that want you to buy their crap, to take all the risk so they don't have to. If that were the case, why don't all the financial companies do the same thing? Why don't all the banks only lend to people that can't pay their loans? Why don't these, Fidelities and these other big companies, why don't they just say, you know what, if you happen to lose money in the stock market, we'll lose money too, we'll pay you back. They won't do it. They get paid whether you make money or not. They take the lowest risk possible, those freaking crooks, so that they always get paid where you may or may not get paid because they led you to believe that high risk creates high returns. Okay, so enough of that rant. So just know we need higher returns, but you don't have to take higher risks. That's what gamblers think. Investors say, how can I minimize my risk while getting higher returns? That's the key. Now, let's talk about it. 10%. If you can earn 10%, which I have a lot of investments that pay at least 10% with the things that I do in the alternative space, and they're backed by real estate. So 10%, if I want $72,000 a year, I need $720,000. That will pay me $200 a day on average, won't it? Now, $720,000 definitely easier than $1.8 million, but it's not as easy. If I just made 2% more, got 12%, now I need $120,000 less. I only need $600,000 to be able to get $72,000 a year or $6,000 a month or $200 a day. So notice that it's just a few percent. From 4% to 10, I mean, it was less than half, but look, 10 to 12 even. That could get you there faster. Now, don't just go chasing the returns. That's a big, dangerous game, right? You wanna make sure that you get a return of your money versus just a return on your money. You wanna make sure that you can get your money back. So be sure to take less risks. But man, if you get the higher returns, you can get your money working much harder for you versus you having to work and slave for many, many more years, sometimes decades, just to finally get your money to pay you someday. That's the big difference. So remember, it depends on what kind of return you get. Now you might be asking yourself, what if I don't have 1.8 million or 720,000 or $600,000 I can go make money for me? By the way, if you do have that much money and you're wondering how to make it work, go check our website, moneyripples.com. We got a passive income calculator that can actually calculate your situation for you to figure out how much money you can actually make. So be sure to check that out, especially if you've got that money. But what if you don't? What if you say, I want $200 a day, but man, I only got 600 grand or more lying around? Then your next option is to realize that it may not be passive. You might have to be doing leverage things. You might have to use a little bit of time, skills, your energy. Something needs to happen for you to put that in to allow your money to grow faster. So let me give you an example here. I've done other videos on this on the same channel, this Money Ripples channel. If you haven't liked and subscribed to it, be sure to do so because we've got lots of ideas of how to actually do these very things. But if you can use your time more appropriately, how can you use it to make more money? So for example, what kind of skill sets do you have? Could you do an online business, but not something that's brand new that you don't know anything about, like trying to start an Etsy shop or an Amazon store, but maybe you start with something that's actually in your wheelhouse. Maybe it ties in with a passion. Maybe something like photography. Could you make an extra few $1,000s a month or more, or in this case, $6,000 a month doing photography? And just doing that on the side, just as a side hustle. So side hustles can be a great way to make more money. Will you invest time? Yes. Will there be some money involved? Maybe. But when you can invest your skill set, when you can add value, you can make a lot more money. I'll tell you this much. The one perspective shift that I had that has literally made me millions upon millions of dollars over really the last 20 years was understanding that it's not about how do I make more money. I don't ask that question anymore. That's a useless question because let's be honest, how many people over the years have asked, how do I make more money? I need to make more money. And then they never do. It's not about that. It's cause and effect. What causes money to be created in your life? It's value. How can I deliver more value, add more value in people's lives? How can I solve problems or serve people in a way where they want to exchange money to get that in their life? Because what you're offering, that value you're offering, they say, you know what? That's worth more to me than the dollars that are sitting in my pocket doing nothing. I want that. It makes my life better. That's what you do. You really show up to serve and solve problems. You can make more money. And does it require you to be working 24/7? No. It's all about the value perception. In fact, even if you were that same photographer, to use that as an example, you might say, well, I'll bill an amount of dollars per hour. You could, but what if you got really good at a specific kind of photography? Maybe it's boudoir photography, woohoo, maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's wedding photography, whatever it might be, where there's that emotional pull. People want good photos and you capture those moments and you start getting referrals and things like that. You might be able to charge a lot more for that than just a typical teenage photo shoot or something like that for senior pictures, right? So there's a lot of things you can do to increase your value. I know one photographer that literally she charges like $3,000 to do about a full day session. Now think about that. If all you had was just a couple Saturdays a month, you did a full session, you're charging $3,000. Now she was doing very good specific photography. She even got the chocolate dipped strawberries because it's mostly women she was shooting and stuff, but she charged a lot and even gave them a certain number of photos to go with it. She made good money. 2 Saturdays a month could make you that $6,000 a month or average of $200 a day, but it doesn't require your whole month, the whole day to do it. Again, I'm not saying you have to be a photographer, right? There are so many ways to do it. You could have online stuff. You could be doing VA type work. You could be doing stuff that actually really is helping people get somewhere better, closer. Whatever it might be, there are a million ways you can make $1 million. And heck, there's even a million ways you can make just $200 a day. Another idea I've given on a few of these videos as well is what about relationships? I mean, if it's not just your time and energy or your skills, right? What if you have good relationships? Are you a good connector, a natural connector? Something I teach a lot of times is that one thing you could do is you become a referral source for other people. Can you refer people in a way that refers to a business that business makes more money? They pay a marketing fee back to you for that referral fee. You could actually do something like that, especially if you know that business is a good business and those people end up happy. So I did the same thing. I remember there's a wholesale jeweler in Salt Lake City that I bought my wedding rings and engagement rings from. I paid 1/3 of the cost of what I would pay if I went to the mall or something, or to one of those big jewelers. But I went to them, it was appointment only. Like it was under lock and key, like electronic lock. You could not get in, save it word by an appointment. So I had to get a business card from them. And then that business card, I set an appointment and then they would let me in. They would not let nobody else in, but they would sell the diamonds at wholesale price. So as a result, I was pretty excited about it. I wanted to tell my friends about it because they were getting married too. And so I referred them to that jeweler. I said, hey, this is a great place. Don't you dare go to that mall again. Don't buy the jewelry from the mall. Go to this guy, appointment only. Here's his card. Just tell him I referred you. And so he would. And then, a month or so later, I get this check in the mail for like 5% of that sale. And they were happy. My friends were happy because they're like, I got a steal of a deal. The business is happy. And as a result of me getting paid, I'm happy too. So just know there's a lot of different strategies you can use by using your relationship capital to build that income. And I'll tell you, I actually made a few $1,000s a month almost with no time at all doing something just like that and was very relaxed. I had no official business. It was literally just friends and family that would ask questions from time to time. I'd say, hey, I know somebody you should talk to. You should talk to them. And if I kept referring to that same person a few times, I would then go to that business and say, hey, do you have a marketing fee, like a referral fee for sending referrals? Because you're welcome. So a great way to be able to create a win-win-win transaction. Win for the business, win for the person you referred, and a win for you as well. All right, as I said, if you like this video, click like, subscribe to our channel. Like there's plenty of other ideas of ways you can create passive income. But I'll say this too, I would love to hear your comments. Are there ways you've created some passive income? Maybe some things that are more leveraged. Maybe it was online, whatever it was. Put those in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback about what you've done as well.